wanted to give you um, an update, or not an update. I wanted to give you some info on my background, how I made it, how I ended up here, some things that happened before I got here. Um, I lived in another town not too far away for 9 years. My kids went to school there and um, graduated there. Then I started raising shepherds, and the place was too small, and we found this place and moved up here with 3 adult shepherds and 5 weeks, no, 7 5-week-old puppies. That was quite the journey, but my daughters helped me with all of it a lot, and my ex. Well, I'm not going into any of that. So, moved up here and I drove a school bus. I had been driving down there. I drove a total of 17 years. I drove a school bus, which was awesome when I lived in the other town. But moving up here wasn't so great. Not the kids weren't bad. The kids were super well behaved, but the company and the boss and stuff just really wasn't a good fit for me. But I stayed with it until, and then let's see. In 2004, my ex left. Um, I got divorced in 2005, and I was on my own, taking care of puppies, which did have another litter. I sold all of those puppies except for one, and then I had another litter of puppies with another female that I had, and she had 12, but she lost one, so I had 11 puppies. That was a lot. But oh my God, it was such a fun time in my life. Go to work, drive the bus, come home, and let the puppies out and play with them. It was just happy days, very happy days. And I had to sell them, and I kept 2 of them for a while, and then I ended up letting go of the female because she wasn't getting along with one of the other females. And then I kept the male. He stayed here his whole life. Um, so, and I just worked and did things and did scrapping. I found out that I could do metal scrapping, and I had a friend that I could do it with, and we pulled a lot of stuff out here because when I bought this place, it was full of just stuff that people had left here and vehicles. I think we must have took 10 vehicles out of here, which I made money. I made quite a bit of money doing that. I sold an old, um, not a I mean, I don't think it was a generator. It was some type of a motor. Really old, big motor. And I got $500 for it. I had so much fun selling the stuff off of here. And I probably still have more that I could sell, but those days are over. I don't do that anymore. So I did that for quite a while, and then that stopped, and I was working and, taking care of my dogs and, living life. And then in 2011, I started having wicked back pain and um, ended up going and having an MRI and found out I had tumors in my back. I had to go have surgery, and that was probably the worst time of my entire life. I have never been in such horrible pain. Like, I don't like medications, and I had to take something just to take the edge off it. It never took it away completely. Anyway, I went and had surgery, and I came out of that feeling I felt like I had a new chance at life, like I had a second chance. It was just such an awesome, I was so full of gratitude just because the pain was gone, completely gone. I was just so grateful. And didn't lose much, really any function. I have numbness in one of my feet, my right foot, which that is the leg that it seemed to have bothered the most. I have numbness there. And that leg is just goes out on me here and there. I don't really know what it is. I've had an MRI like 7 years ago, and there's no more growth in my spine, which is so awesome to hear and to know. And they're a very slow growing tumor, so I'm not really concerned. I mean, I don't get that kind of that kind of pain that I had. I do get sciatica, but I have something else going on in my back. I'm 68. The wear and tear. I've put my body through, done some things that maybe I shouldn't have done, but I don't think about that now. I just grateful that I was able to do it when I did it. So then I had to get on disability, which is a whole other story because it's when you're a busy, hard worker, moving and doing things and moving my body has always been an important part of my mental health, really. And to suddenly not be able to do the things I used to do, even though I was so full of gratitude to be out of the pain, it was such a drastic change in my life. And I still found so much gratitude and joy in life after that. I can't explain how well I felt. So even though I was walking around with a cane for quite a while, I couldn't walk normal for probably a year, maybe more. But I'm okay. I have issues with that leg still, periodically. There's a lot of things that I've learned to do that helps me get through that and to, stress just feeds on those parts of your body that are worn out and got scar tissue. I don't know. But I've learned a lot of different things to do to help me, and I'm doing all right. I'm learning, really learning in the past year to slow down, just stop trying to do everything quickly. So life changed when that happened. Life changed a whole bunch when that happened. I couldn't go back to drive the school bus. Not that I wanted to. I love driving a bus. I love driving it. It just felt so amazing to be driving this huge vehicle. I drove it down to Boston one time, brought a group of kids down there, and we had to go through this underground parking area. And I just whipped through there like it was nothing, no big deal. And it's just sometimes I look back and like, wow, I actually got through there without hitting anything. So things you think about, the past that you think about. So that was okay. It's okay that I don't drive a school bus anymore, but I have good memories. The kids in the town that I used to work in still remember me, still talk about me, because they knew my daughter. She was friends with a lot of them. They were in the same grade, so yeah, it's kind of cool. So then, life did slow down quite a bit. I still had the dogs and cats. I had cats that had shown up. I had a group of kittens that had shown up the year before. That was in 2012. Then I had the surgery. So disability, there was things that I tried to do from home for work, and it was good, but it didn't go the way I really wanted it to go. That's a whole other story to tell you. But I just want to give you a little bit of the background of my life here. And there's a lot more to come because there's so much more. I just wanted to let you know what it was before. That was the first 5, 6, 7 years of being here. Oh, maybe not 7. Yeah, probably 2003 to 2012 is, yeah, that's quite a few years. But it was busy, it was good. I built a fence for my dogs and was carrying logs from down back on my shoulders. Going out in the woods and taken my chainsaw, which I had no clue how to use a chainsaw. I taught myself how to use it. It was a big chainsaw. It was my ex's, and he left it here, and I was like, well, I want to learn to use it. And I had gotten a little wood stove, and so I used to go take my wagon down out back on the property where it's all woods and cut down stuff and bring it back, and I was happy. I was like a little kid playing. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? I was 40s. I don't think I did that after my back. I did that before my back. After my back, it was more gardening and just making jams and not that heavy work anymore. All right, I think that's good enough before I tend to just keep going around. Just wanted to give you a background of how I got here and where I came from. Things that happened before I was living alone. All right, I think that's it. I'll talk to you soon and take care. Bye.